Hi, so thank you so much for having me on your channel. I'm very excited and happy to share my story. My name is Amber, as you said, and I live in Malibu, California. I came down with double pneumonia one morning and rushed me to the hospital and I almost died and I was in the ICU. And since that time, I have had asthma. So during this second near death experience, I had an asthma flare up along with this mystery kind of cold that felt very much like just a weight was on my chest. I couldn't breathe and I was having this asthma flare up that wasn't able to be under control, and I was in and out of the hospital on a lot of steroids. I really felt like I was going to die. I was terrified, and I was at home one night. I had my own breathing machine, and like I said, kind of in and out of the hospital, and it was in the middle of the night and I was alone and I started to gasp for breath. And I just thought to myself, like, this is it. I'm dying. I can't stand up. I can't get up. It's my last breath. Like I said, it's just really a very scary feeling. Anyone that experiences not being able to breathe, but to feel like you're being suffocated, I just, like I said, was just terrified. So I did really what came to me in that moment to do, which was pray. So I prayed to my grandmother who is in spirit, and we always had a very close bond growing up. Um, and I prayed to her and I just said, like, please help me. Like, I don't want to die. I started to leave my body. And at that time, I was looking down at my body and I could feel the presence of angels around me in the room. But there was one angel in particular that I knew was Archangel Michael. He didn't have to really announce himself. It was his presence was taller than my ceiling. It took up every ounce of my room. And at the same time, my grandmother was there and in spirit as well. And I started to feel this presence of Mother Mary around me. And so as I was viewing my body and kind of in this almost state of confusion, like, am I dying? What's going on? I was still had my thoughts. I still had my consciousness that I was thinking. And I started to travel within my awareness into kind of what felt like a dark tunnel, but it felt warm and it felt safe. And I still felt that presence of my grandmother in spirit. I still felt that presence of Archangel Michael. In fact, he started to communicate with me. He started to telepathically, kind of like this telepathic thought transfer. It was the way he was communicating was telling me all these messages about my life. And so as I was traveling in this tunnel, it really felt like time stopped. Like everything was at this like standstill, and there was so many things happening at once, where I could see that my body was on my bed and that they I say they, but these energies, my grandmother, the angels, they seemed to be breathing into my body. And at the same time, I was traveling in my awareness and completely out of my body and just experiencing my pure consciousness. And as I was traveling, they said, this is a divine intervention. And we are performing a miraculous healing on you for you to understand that you are not confined to your body, that you are limitless, that when I say you, what they told me about myself is what we all are. So we humans are born and we think we are our bodies, we think we are our thoughts, we think we are our mind. But what they said is that we are boundless, we are infinite potential, and we are not our bodies, we are not our thoughts, we are not our mind. And so they said that I am a seed in the universe, that I am that I am omnipotent, and that my true power is the source that I stem from, and that is who we all are, and that is why they're performing this miraculous healing. And so the miraculous healing, what they explained to me was that they were opening up my consciousness, and that they were washing away the limited beliefs that I was holding inside my chest. And there was a point in this whole experience where Archangel Michael seemed to be the one leading the conversation, and he said, "Now I'm going to take you to the source that you stem from. I'm going to show you that this power that you are, this unlimited possibilities and potential that your true essence, that you are a part of, that we are all connected to, and you're going to become one with this power source." And so in my consciousness, I moved into this ball of light, this it was not just an energetic source, it felt that my consciousness merged with this one consciousness that is all that exists, and I became one, and I experienced just this feeling of euphoria. And there was, while this was happening, which is hard to kind of explain because you're like having, in this life, it's kind of like things happen in a linear fashion, but no, not on the other side. So while that was happening, at some point I had this, telepathic conversation with my grandmother in spirit, and I said, "How is this happening, that like you came to me and like performed this divine intervention?" And it seemed like she kind of, was the one who helped this all happen and really saved my life. And she said, "Because we are twin flames, that we are never apart. We will never be separate. I am your twin soul." Now, I know that some people think that twin souls have to be like that romantic partner, but it really flipped everything on the head for me as far as that goes, because obviously my grandmother and I, she's my grandmother and I was her granddaughter, and but I do believe what she said to me, and I do believe that she was able to perform that divine healing, because I do believe that, like she said, we are twin flames and twin souls. And we've always had this like unbelievable bond. And we shared a lot of the same characteristics growing up, as far as like what we did for a living and just even like our energy. So that was very interesting. And I asked her about a couple of people in my life at the time that were struggling. And the answer kind of came to me from different sources. It was like the answer, like when I would ask questions, sometimes I would feel the presence of my grandmother, and sometimes I would feel like it was Archangel Michael who was speaking. And so when I was asking for a couple of people in my life to help them, because they were struggling too, they said that's going to work itself out. And it's very interesting because the way that they explained it seemed now that what they meant by that it was their own karmic lessons. Everything that they were going through had to be like their divine free will. Um, so there was the complete like emergence or oneness that I had with source, and they explained to me again that they were going to perform this miraculous healing. So they took away the sorrow and the guilt that I had from my divorce and over a lot of the things that I was experiencing in my life. But the main thing that was the biggest miracle was that when they said that they were opening my consciousness and that I was going to become one with source, what really happened was this divine activation that carried through with me in my life after the near death experience. So after that oneness, and after my grandmother explained to me about who she was with me in the twin flame, they said that this was going to be a reckoning the first night, and that within this divine intervention, there was going to be 3 visits. The first night that the whole near-death experience was the reckoning. That was the word they used. I don't even really know that word. So it was the reckoning, that they were going to come back to me the second time, and it was going to be an awakening. And the third night was going to be a rebirth. And so I asked them, I said, "Oh, okay, so I'm not dying. Like because I thought like I was out of my body, completely separated." And they said, "No, we want you to spread this message. We want you to share this message to help other people activate their true power. And you are going to write books, and you are a healer." And so it was kind of like in that moment, again, everything changed. It was this divine intervention, really was like, again, this alignment into really, I believe, what is my true purpose and what I'm supposed to do in this lifetime to help other people. And as they started to send me back into my body, they started to explain to me and kind of land my consciousness into my chakra system. So they went into the top of my head and they started to excuse me, explain like these are the feelings and these are the associated characteristics of this consciousness, of this chakra. And then I started to slowly assimilate my consciousness back into my physical body. Our true power is that we are not defined by our physical bodies, by our thoughts, by our feelings, by our mind. um our true power is that we are God, we are source. What we stem from, we are one part of a whole of source, meaning that we are a fragment, a spark of that power that we stem from. And so most people really, me including, operate their life thinking they can only be what they're thinking or what they're feeling, and that they are defined, let's say, by what has happened to them or their circumstances. And I do believe that it is the evolution of this planet Earth that we remember our true essence, and that we really like claim our power and take that back and start to expand our consciousness. Because what I can tell you is that when I left my body, I I was my consciousness. So our consciousness is eternal, and we still experience thoughts. I can't necessarily say I had any other feeling other than a loving feeling, but our consciousness is eternal. It can't be destroyed. Energy can't be destroyed. And my message really is to help people tap into that the full potential that they have, so that they don't attach their selves to their limitations, that we understand we experience limitations, but we are meant to heal them. I One of the things that I think has come from this whole experience is really the practice of manifestation, but I really like to take it a step further and call it something a little different, which is co-creating with the universe and our higher self. So whereas manifestation might just be about, getting what you want, I think that the true act of living a dream life would be to become the desires that you want in the inside, so that you're not chasing something on the outside and wanting to achieve a certain result to then feel a certain way. So really, for me, what I practice is enjoying the journey and allowing myself to create those internal shifts, so that in the moment, in the present moment, I tap into, again, that true essence, that true power that I am. Because really, like, heaven is created in our own mind, and we are creator beings. And so it's kind of like, we what our true power is. If you say, well, okay, you have this true power, well, then what? It really kind of stems from consciousness, tapping into your expanded consciousness, taking your power back, claiming the life that you want, and like moving the needle forward, knowing that, yes, we're in this physical, kind of third dimensional duality life, but at the same time, we have this, you could say it's magical power, but it's really just our true essence to tap into that limitless potential that we are. And from that place, if you start to practice manifestation, you can like claim the life that you want. I also believe that when they were talking to me about this unlimited field of consciousness that we are, what that really is, the way that most people can understand that is the quantum field. So the quantum field is the awareness of unlimited possibilities and potentials. And if you can reprogram your mind or consciousness to tap into that field, what you're really doing is, letting go of the attachments. What you're really doing is that's your full potential, is tapping into the unlimited possibilities in that awareness that you can just tap into at any time. So there's a lot I can say about this. I'm actually creating a course right now on this. Funny that you're asking me this, because I'm creating a course, which is also the name of my podcast, which is called Your Light is Fearless. And it's going to be called Your Light is Fearless Academy. It's coming next month. And I'm going to teach people how to tap into their own Akashic records, to tap into their soul's library, and to transform their blocks, which is, the limited beliefs that maybe someone is operating from that's very hidden, and to really start to manifest, the desires, right? But to not just manifest what they want on the outside, but to create those internal shifts in their perspective on the inside so that they can enjoy the experience. What I would say to someone, because I went through a lot, not just divorce, I had gone through bankruptcy, I had gone through like this very abusive work environment, really feeling like just a lot of obstacles in my life. And when you go through either one thing or many things very hard, it really feels like you're being like things are happening to you and you have no way to get out of them or no choice. And sometimes you can feel very trapped by your emotions. But I think that the one advice to understand is that even though we want to honor our feelings have information. I don't believe in bypassing them. I don't believe that was their message, but it's to create space between them and to know that your true essence is not what you're experiencing. That's just a moment in time. Your true essence is unlimited possibilities and potentials at all times, meaning that you have the capacity to transform your feelings. And if you awaken your higher mind and observe what you're thinking and feeling and start to question it and start to use that as an opportunity to grow, it really allows yourself to like overcome the circumstances and overcome those feelings that feel like they're weighing on you and that you have no other way out of them. So really it's about not defining yourself from them, but to accept that, yes, you're feeling that, but what else is true? Who else am I? What have I learned? So it's like awakening this higher perspective so that you're not only operating in like, I guess you could call it the ego mind or the monkey mind. Thank you so much for listening. For anyone who is going through a hard time, I really hope that these words bring you comfort, but really help you tap into the true essence that I was able to discover. Because no matter what you're going through, that is who you are. You are unlimited. I keep saying it, but your true essence is this infinite, omnipotent power, and that is who you are.